Okay, welcome back to my channel, which is pretty much just a manifesto now, because all these videos just get turned into my other content, and this is just how I start my days, and I don't even know if anyone's watching them, but welcome to my manifesto account, and I am Connor Caffrey. I am representing my company, Us. So, today's video, as the title said, I'm going to be talking about why I am the king of all startups. Sounds kind of braggy, but there's a reason for me to say this. It's because of what I'm doing and how I'm getting it out there, because there's really two main things. There is what you're doing, what is your company about, but also how many people are going to see it, like how much value is it actually bringing to the world. I already mentioned in my previous videos about economic value per person, how much economic value am I bringing in, and it's just me as a person, and that comes down to how many people I can get this in front of and how much value I'm bringing to each one of those people. So how much value I am bringing, as in what does my company do. I'm actually going to start with how I'm going to get in front of people, because that matters more than what I'm doing. Because the whole point of what I'm doing is it doesn't really work unless it gets in front of a lot of people. But I'm gonna show you how I'm getting in front of a lot of people. Our marketing scheme consists of, first, me posting my content on all my 5 channels: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, right? Post daily, twice a daily, depending on what it is. And that will establish the narrative. I will place the first roots in the ground of what the narrative is and establish that I'm leading it, and this is my narrative, my company, Us. Part 2 of 5, that was part 1 of 5. Part 2 of 5 is ambassadors. We have set aside a quarter of lifetime company profits to pay 50 ambassadors to establish the narrative as well. What I'm trying to do is, I have my own personality. I am just me. I'm an 18-year-old white dude going to Texas State. I do my own thing. I'm gonna get 50 people that all have different unique personalities that can establish the same thing I'm saying right now in their own tone of voice, in their own language, share it to their own audiences, right? That's the whole point, is that way this narrative is proving it's for everyone. It's not just for people like me, it's for everyone. That's step 2. That's how we establish we have a really strong footing in our narrative, because it accepts everyone, and we already have a lot of traction because it's all my content and all the other 50 people's content doing well. So, part 3 of 5 is the press. This is important because once we have a strong enough footing in our narrative, we can go public in a way of, we enter the mainstream narrative. The people that might not know anything about me yet, might not even really know much about startups in general, they're not in that space, but they're connected to the news, the major outlets of the world, right? That's the mainstream narrative. Press is what's going to combine our company, my company, Us, with the mainstream narrative. So press can be like the news, like maybe you go on like NBC or something, you do some whole interview. That's pretty extreme. It can just be as simple as other creators, other like private journalists. You want to get in front of those eyes as much as possible, because those people are viewed by some of the big dogs, right? The people that are really in charge of the mainstream narrative. And when you get that attention, you establish yourself inside the mainstream narrative. So what I'm going to be doing is, that's step 3, right? The whole point, we already have our grounding. Then we go to step 3. We are now in the mainstream narrative. We're not deep in the mainstream narrative. We have a really strong footing and we're in the mainstream narrative. Part 4, partners. Now that we're in the mainstream narrative, let's get deep into the mainstream narrative. That's what partners are doing. Like I said, we had 50 ambassadors at 25% for total. We're gonna do 10 partners at 10% total. So 1%, double what the ambassadors get, and a secured room on Exodus. So this is made for the bigger dogs. The secured room on Exodus is actually a bigger deal than the profit, if even. So this is a true partnership of the company. 10 people, and they're all representing us. These people are in the mainstream narrative. These are the big names. They're not news outlets themselves. They're probably still social media creators, but they are part of the mainstream narrative. So we're gonna be dominating social media with them. And the whole point is that by using them, we are adding people that were already deep into the mainstream narrative into our narrative that's already in the ground. So our narrative now includes me, the ambassadors, and the partners. So we are all the way deep into the mainstream narrative while already having a strong footing. Our narrative is very strong. That essentially means we are getting the attention of, like, considering everyone that uses it is probably going to talk to friends and family, their close circle about it. We are really in front of the eyes of everyone. Like, we are big time at this point. We have everyone's attention. Like, the people that don't look at us just choose to not look at us. So we have the opportunity to have everyone's attention. So that brings us to the final step, part 5, which is the ad campaigns. Normally, when you do an advertisement, you're trying to get someone's attention and sell a product, right? The ad campaigns I was doing are different. We already have your attention. We're just trying to get you on the same wavelength as us. So the whole point is, we're going to be doing these visionary ads, where I think the way I'm going to construct them is they're all going to start in the future in the ideal new earth scenario, and then go backwards in time to the present at the time that each ad campaign releases. And the way it's going to work is it's going to show you essentially in kind of a neat artistic way how we are pulling and manifesting this beautiful future of Earth through our company, what we're doing to achieve this. And that will be the ad campaigns that everyone can see. And those are the 5 steps of our narrative. That's how we're going to go big time. So point is, by the time the ad campaigns are done, we have essentially everyone's attention and we're all in the same wavelength. So this is going to be probably the only time in history the world has been this united under the same wavelength since like the American Revolution or some shit. That's why I call this a revolution. That's why we're called us, US, United States of America. Pretty cool, right? Now, step 2. Or not step 2. I just did the 5 steps of how we're going to get this out. The next part, the other thing I talked about in the beginning of the video is what are we doing? What is our company doing? Why do we care about getting this in front of the eyes of so many people? What is so important that everyone needs to see it? What are we doing? That is what my company is doing. Okay, I'll talk about that. I'm just kind of yapping. So we have 3 platforms right now. That is our company. We release digital platforms. Digital platforms are key because that is the only way right now, using the internet is the only way you can get everyone to be connected in the same place at the same time constantly. That is why the internet is so beautiful, because we can all be interconnected. It's been used in negative ways before for control of mass people. You get all the people looking at the same thing and now we control them. But the point of this, we get everyone in the same place, and this is providing abundance for everyone, because I'll tell you about how the system works, but everyone is connected to the same source now. So the reason I talked about that whole marketing first is because now you can believe that we're going to get this in front of so many people. Now that it is in front of so many people and the system is being used by a ton of people, that's what makes it work. So 3 platforms. The first platform is called Plexus. We already released this. It's ready. The second and third platform is called Nexus and Exodus. We finished the UI, we finished the UX, the whole system is built, but we haven't developed them out into apps yet. We need a bit more funding, so we're waiting to get that out. But I'll go through how they all work. Plexus. The most abundant resource in the world is our human experiences, because there is 8 billion of us on this planet. We all have our own unique experiences, and we are all the ones in charge of manifesting the future. So if there was a place, a singular place that could pool all of the world's experiences into one place, that would be extremely valuable. So what we're gonna do is everyone uses Plexus. They all share information daily. They share their experiences daily. But this is so much information for anyone to look through. It doesn't mean anything. So what we do is we find patterns between people's experiences. And that means there is an AI model that will scan all the experience submitted to the platform. It has to be an AI model because there's so much data. It has to be something automated. It can't employ someone to do this. That's ridiculous. So patterns are suggested. If you submitted experience and the AI model detected a pattern between your experience and someone else's pattern, it will suggest this pattern back to you and those other people, and only y'all. Y'all have the opportunity to validate the pattern, agree by saying, yes, this is a real pattern, because I agree with what you're saying, essentially. It's just to add a final wall of human touch so that the AI system is not just flooding the system, I guess you could say. And all those patterns, every pattern that gets approved by users is added to the collective insight bank, which everyone can use. And that's the end of Plexus, is we're turning experience shared into patterns and then into collective insights that everyone can see. That's so many collective insights that will be generated. It's kind of too much for everyone to use. So what are we going to do with that? We're going to add platform number 2, which is Nexus. And the way that's going to work is you have this bank, you have access to this bank of all these collective insights, and you're going to create thought trains. And what a thought train is just a string, a connection, an interconnection, a random combination, not random, you decide, but you create that combination of as many collective insights as you want. So you have this bank of collective insights, this beautiful bank of just so much information that is directly relevant to the real world. You have the opportunity, a sandbox creation, if you will, to create thought trains by using all these collective insights, however many you want, whatever combination you want. This is fully up to your human imagination, and that is the beauty of Nexus. There's also something called a digital garden on Nexus, where each collective insight will get its own essentially comment section where people can add their own human opinion to it. So that way there's like metadata behind every collective insight where you can see the objective information and also the subjective opinion of the humans that commented on it. Through this, we trademarked this, I guess, as the digital garden. You can check it out when we release Nexus. But essentially the output of Nexus is to have these thought trains. So Plexus turns experience into collective insights. Nexus turns collective insights into thought trains. Exodus turns thought trains into real world change. So Exodus is the final and most important platform, I would say, because it creates a community or an ecosystem where we can turn thought trains into real world change. And the whole reason this works still, like I said, is because everyone's using the same platform. If we're all on Exodus, I won't explain the whole system of Exodus, but if everyone is locally on that, using the Nexus thought trains, then it will be so easy for anyone to create anything. It will just be so easy, okay? I promise. So we also use our business model, which is called US Premium, where we give deeper insight into the platform to pay for all the ambassadors and the partners, as well as 50% of our money will go to venture capitalism for products coming out of Exodus, so that way you don't need to worry about funding, you can just create. And that is why everyone using these platforms will be so capable of bringing in financial abundance, because the system will be so easy. This is the new work system of the future. This is how people will make their money. It is so much easier. And when 8 billion people use it, the data on there is incredibly relevant, incredibly accurate, and so valuable. That is the beauty of us.